Hello, YouTube viewers. This is May Chosen One, and I'm back again. However, this time I'm not going to be sharing visions per se. I'm just going to give you a little background about me. Just tell you some things about me, my gifts, and things of that nature. Um, if you have been following my visions, you know that I come from a very religious family. My father was a minister, my mother was an evangelist, and I grew up in the Church of God in Christ. Since I was about 12 years old, that's when it seems like my gift of wisdom just poured in. I had women coming to me that were talking about things that I had no knowledge of, but it appears that God gave me a word of knowledge and a gift of wisdom. I didn't start seeing visions until a little later after that, and that was like, dreams when you dream. And then later on, I began to see open eye visions. Or if I closed my eyes, I could see what looked like a movie. But everybody in my family is somewhat gifted. If not spiritually, they're somewhat musically inclined. I have a brother that had been seeing in the spirit realm since he was born. And I know there's a lot of debate on this topic because a lot of people say, well, if somebody can communicate with spirits on the other side, they're evil. How can a 3-year old, in my son's case, 2-year old, be evil? There are just some gifts. Now, see, growing up in church too, I realize now that a lot of things I was taught, you know, it was some of the information was ignorance. They didn't know any better. They really didn't. Um, a child born with a gift that can see in the spirit realm is not evil. Okay, that's my opinion, and I will remain to say that. My son was not evil, and my brother was not evil, born to be able to see in the spirit realm. I remember and recall a time when my son was 2 years old, and my brother was staying with me at the time. He told me, May, your son, he can see, and I was like, oh, really? He was like, he can see in the spirit realm. I knew my brother could see spirits because all his life he would tell us, there's a little girl down the hallway, with a white dress on, and we would be running through the house and, scared. And my parents like, be quiet, It's like, but he saw this, and it was like, okay, be quiet. Well, both my parents are deceased now, and upon my father outlived my mother. And when my father passed away, my uncle, who is now deceased, came to my brother and told my brother some information that I was kind of upset about at first because I was like, why would they hide it from us? But apparently, we had a sister, and she died from an asthma attack. Because back then, way back, I guess in the 50s, you know, they didn't have the technology and the medical knowledge that they have right now. I remember my brother was hospitalized for asthma. They had him in this big tent. It was like this big he was laying in bed with this big plastic tent over him, like an oxygen tent or something. And that's way outdated, but that's how far back it is. I'm not gonna reveal my age, but that's how long ago it's been. But the little girl was always hanging around for my brother. And so we didn't know, we believed him. My parents would never excuse me, they never would really address that. They would just tell us, be quiet, because we'd be screaming and hollering. I mean, what they expect us to do with children? But anyway, we believed him. It was like, we believe you, we believe you. Okay, well, after both my parents died, and my mom died when I was 21. My father died later on in life. Like I said, I'm in my 40s. I'm just gonna say that. But anyway, my dad, brother, which is my uncle, told my brother that we had a sister, and she had died from asthma attack. And we were like, huh? Well, he told my brother that. And then my brother came and told us. That's how it went. And my brother was like, okay, so that's the little girl who haunted me all my life. Well, what it was is that she figured he was going to die because he almost did die. And what happened was he was in the hospital one day. And, back then they had them windows where you could open up, and literally, no screen in there, and a bird could fly in. Our blue jay flew in the window, and my brother just hopped up out the, up in the bed and just started singing this song called "It's a Highway to Heaven." It's a very old song, but it goes, "There's a highway to heaven," and he sung that song, and my mom was just sitting there crying. And after that, he had never, ever again, ever had another asthma attack. He was healed of asthma. And later on in life, once he got in the world, he started smoking cigarettes. Somebody told me recently he's still smoking cigarettes, but what I'm saying is that he was healed. God healed him. And people say a lot of things, supernatural is of the devil and things like that, but it's not. I think a lot of that is ignorance. And I give you an example about my son. My son was 2 years old. My brother came to me and told me he can see. And I was kind of scared then because I was like, oh no, I don't want him to, be seeing that spirit realm. This young, but one night was preparing for bed, and he went. I mean, we was laying on the bed, and he was pointing. He kept saying, "Shut the door, shut the door," And I was like, "Why?" He said, "It's a man there, it's a man there." And he was turning his head, and I knew then he could see in the spirit realm, but he kept saying that man. And then I had an encounter with the man myself, and then my brother and my sister had an encounter with him because one day I had left and I went out to my in-laws' house, and my brother and my sister came knocking on the door looking for me, and they was like, "Wow, nobody's here," because at that point I had like different relatives, living with me. I always take everybody in, and they said when they was walking away and they got in the car, they saw a man just standing in the window, and it was like, "Oh man, somebody ain't right. Why they don't want us to come in?" And so they told me they came over, and I knew at that point that everybody was out of the house. Was nobody there? We all left, and I was like, no, and there was nobody there. I knew it was that same man that my son had encountered. The reason why I believe in, well, I have faith in the visions I received because all my life I have been, visited by angels or messengers of God to tell me things to do. It was one point in my life where I was about to move abroad. I had been to the Middle East, and I was getting a job. Well, I was gonna be accepting a job offer abroad, and I don't know why, which is something I don't know. I just said I'm not gonna take it. I went for the interview, but what happened was I had a vision, well, a dream, and an angel came to me, and she told me, she said, "Don't go over there like that," and I was like, I was mad. I was like, she tripping. I'm going over there. But then it was like one of those movies where you think these things are happening. At the end of the movie, you realize the person had a vision. She showed me what was going to happen, and I was like, okay. Sure enough, a year later, 9/11 took place. If I had took that job, ain't no telling what could have happened to me. But you know, it's not. That's just one example. There are many examples. So I know that if I'm seeing something, it has some validity to it, but it's up to you to believe it. I'm not on here to persuade anybody. Everybody have their own opinions. Everybody. And I don't call myself a prophetess. People tell me that, you're a prophetess. And I was like, well, I call myself a seer or seeress. But I do know that I see a lot of things and they happen. They really do. And I get warnings before things happen. And especially in my family, I could tell somebody clear as day, you need to find another job, because something gonna happen on your job and they're gonna give you a hard time. Hear me? But they won't do anything about it. And not that I'm saying they don't respect my gift, because they do. But it's hard when you're among your family and you're gifted, because it's like they don't respect you as much as a stranger. You know what I'm saying? And sure enough, the incident I told my sister about happened, and now she's like singing a sad song about the job. But I told her before it happened, to find another job. I don't know if she was looking hard enough. She probably did look and then stop. But now the incident is facing her, and she's like, I want to leave this job. But there have been other warnings that I've received, even for my own personal life, about different things. So when I dream something or see it, which I call a vision, I know that it's not just some figment of my imagination. I'm not a babe in Christ. I was in church in my mother's womb. I know clearly what a dream is and what a vision is. and what's to be interpreted and what's not to be, to be interpreted. I know that, so it's not like I don't know when I have a vision or a dream, what the difference is, because I know dreams can be symbolic and sometimes they need to be interpreted. But when I see something, I mean, just plain see it the way I've been seeing it, I have to reflect back now over 30 years how I've been, communicating with different, spirits that are sent to me. And it's always this particular woman that comes to me. And yeah, she is a woman. Okay, I can look at her and see she's a woman. I don't even know and think about, okay, well, there's no sex or whatever. I know the woman is a woman that come to me, very beautiful woman. She's come to me lots of times, and I can hear her, in the spirit realm at times. And like I said, my son can sense and he can see in the spirit realm. Um, my brother can see in the spirit realm, and we've been in church all our lives. I'm not practicing no witchcraft or anything like that. It's just a gift. I mean, there are some people that are just born naturally gifted, and people see them as, weirdos or strange or something, and that, a lot of people need to educate themselves on what's a gift and what is not, because like I said, since my brother was young and my son was 2, now my son is in his 20s, and he doesn't he's trying to get his master's degree, and he is in New Mexico right now. And when he first arrived there, a young man came to him in the spirit and was asking my son, can he listen to his story? And my son, was like, okay, I'm not gonna entertain this here. I got too much to do. I'm here to get my master's. And it seemed like once you open that door and they find out you can hear or see, then they'll just start coming, like the word travel or something. And so he listened to the boy, and then the boy was murdered. And sure enough, he got on the internet and he Googled him and he found him. That happened to me too. I had a vision of a young man that had been murdered, and he came to me, and he was upset about his murder, and I Googled him. Actually, in this particular dream, and it was a dream, but I believe it was an out of body experience. Um, he was in hell, and it was a level of hell that was everything was gray, and these little scorpion beings would come out and sting people like you could never predict it. They would just come out, and I was there, and I prayed with him, and when I prayed with him, we left that area and went to um, a level of heaven. And I know people are like, wow, that's really weird. But I'm telling you, there's so much more that we don't know or been taught, because a long time ago, my father was living, he would never teach on this and that. But when he passed away and went through his books and stuff, he had books on these subjects. So apparently, he had a gift. He did not operate in his gift, and my mom was a prophetess and a healer. I remember very clearly when a man hadn't walked, I think it was in 30 years. I don't want to, tell you untruth. I know either he never walked or he hadn't walked, probably in maybe 20, 30 years, because he never walked, his muscles, would have been like, not able to, hold his weight. But I think it was like maybe, I don't know, it was a long, long time. And this man got up out of a wheelchair and walked. And I remember people coming from everywhere to my father's church because they heard my mother had a gift for healing, which I have that gift too. I can't. This is how people line up and say, "Let me heal you." You know what I'm saying? But if I'm led to put my hands on somebody, God will use me. But that's rare. But I have laid my hands on a woman and had a tumor and it went away. But like I said, that's rare. But anyway, I wanted to share some things with you about me. I will be coming back on here again with another vision because, like I said, since I don't know, just recently I've been receiving visions like, get prepared, something's gonna happen. And I'm not on here to debate anybody about the rapture, so please respect that, this is my channel and I'm just trying to help other people who want to learn. Thank you for listening to my video. May God bless you and may heaven shine upon you.